All right, it is day 2 and we are back at it. And I made a decision that I am going to use more boxes and organize those roasts and things like that. So we're going to get a count just because I'm curious and I'm sure you're curious. So we're going to do it. I'm going to do it really quick, so I might not film it all, but we're going to find out just what's in here. And I think it'll make it a lot easier to organize other things around it in order to have space to put things back. Fingers crossed. That's 18 loin roasts. We're not even into the leg roast yet. And here you can see we still have a few of these old soft cheeses we made when we were milking the goats. So they've got to be at least 3 years old because we sold the goats 3 years ago. So they need to be used up, and we'll be milking the sheep this spring so I can start making these all over again because boy, they were handy to have. So you can see here, I've got a little gap. What I've been doing, I've been putting anything that's chicken into a box, and I'm hoping that this box is going to slide right down there. Keep your fingers crossed. Oh, it'll go. I can make it. Maybe I can't. Darn it. We're gonna have to move the geese. There's the 2 geese. Let's see if it'll go now. There we go. It went. Sort of. All right. So that's in there. What have we got here? Garlic scapes. We didn't put any in the freezer this year, so those have to be 2022. They still look good though. So there's 2 of our whole geese. I know there's some in the other freezer too. They're gonna stay for now in this freezer, just kind of scattered, because they fit really nicely in this little spot down here. Another thing you can see down here is a lot of store-bought fruit. This is stuff that, well, like the peaches, the pineapples are things we can't grow. They were on sale. We do not grow much for strawberries yet, so this is handy when they're on sale to pick up. One thing that's kind of scattered all over in all the freezers is lamb bones. When we get the sheep butchered, especially when we make them into ground or just stewing meat all deboned, we always get the bones back so that I can make lamb broth. And I try and get that done as quickly as possible so that we aren't using freezer space to store bones. But I still have this pack here. I'm not sure if there's any in the other freezer. There shouldn't be. But I know there's a bunch outside and there's a bag upstairs in that freezer too. So in the near future, we should make these into lamb broth. But other than that, I think we are nearing completion on this first freezer. We have a lot of berries. These are blackberries, black raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and even an old pack of rhubarb. This is from 2020. 2020. Needs to be used up. We'll make some rhubarb strawberry jam. That's always really, really nice in the yogurt. So I think we can safely say we're ready to potentially bring the other fruit back. So I still have stuff that's got to go back into that freezer, like that big box of the loin roasts. It's going to just sit on top, I think, but I want to go into the second freezer before I do that because I know there's probably some chicken that needs to go into that other box. And I know there's probably some fruit or there's something that's going to need to move over here. So we're going to go into this one and see what we could do. I do believe, now don't hold me to this, but I do believe it is better organized than the first one was because it's the one that really had no room to just bung stuff in. So let's look because maybe this one will go a lot quicker. So this freezer here should be mostly goose meat, rabbit meat, and vegetables. Should be. So I have another box here that we're going to just kind of start putting all the goose meat into for now. I know there's a lot more rabbit than goose, other than obviously the whole geese. Gooses, I almost said gooses. So let's get started with that. Some's ground goose. Goose legs, garlic scape butter, and garlic scape pesto. We should have some more pesto somewhere else. That's not all of it. More squash. It's a fruit. It's going in the other freezer. So I think that might be it for the goose stuff. Like I said, we've left most of them whole, so there isn't too much left in here. I'm going to put this store-bought fish in that same box just to kind of keep it neat and tidy. Gotta love when you find a mystery package. It's definitely lard. It's probably from the geese. I don't know. I'm not going to throw it out. We'll keep it in here. I'll put it in the box with the goose stuff. Lamb roast 2021. So that should go in the other freezer. And same with this chicken. That's going to go in the box in the other freezer. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, this is another huge throwback. I think I put it on the top on purpose so that we would eat it, and we still haven't eaten it. This is a duck from 2015. That came sealed, so it's still in great shape. But we haven't had ducks in a lot of years. Might have to cook that soon. Okay, wow. I so don't even know where to start. I don't. There's a lot more squash. Now that is another throwback. That's apple pie fill from before I started putting it in jars. This has got to be 6, 7 years old. So we better make some pie. These are lamb ribs. Again, one of those meats that we really don't use. So these often get done for chicken food. So I'm going to put them in the other freezer with the chicken food above the fridge for Chris, so that when he makes his hot food for the chickens in the wintertime, he can just use these up. Now this, is another rogue random bag here of venison. I don't even know what year. Pork chops. Now these are going to be at least 6, 7 years old, because we haven't had pigs in a good 6 years now. Like pigs that we actually butchered. Some more venison. So this is another bag that really needs to be on top and just get used up. Hopefully over the pantry challenge we'll use that. So I'm going to leave it out for the moment. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty down here. We do store a lot of peas and corn from the grocery store, because these are something that we don't make or grow enough of right now. Maybe one day, but right now we don't. I have to admit, I'm having a tough time with this because I just don't even know how to organize it. I'm a terrible, terrible organizer. But what I found now is a whole bunch more lamb. And I've marked the weights on the packets, so I know it's got to be at least 3 years old, because I haven't done that in a long time. So there's not a lot, but like rack of lamb. What do we got here? More stewing meat. So chops, very tiny rack of lamb, like basically that's bone. I'm going to put this on top in the other freezer, and we're just going to get it used up in the upcoming weeks. We'll start the pantry challenge with a whole lot of lamb. There's a whole bunch more lamb down there. We have a lot of lamb. I'm going to pause the camera for a moment, and I'm going to regroup and get stuff out of here and see what I've got to work with, and then I'll bring you back. So for right now, I've made a decision that I'm going to leave this lamb in here. I've actually piled underneath it some of the bones for broth, because I might not get to that anytime soon. And I could use the ones upstairs or out in the freezer outside first. Then I have 2 more full geese, which I've just kind of slid down there. But lo and behold, more lamb. Huh. Go figure. So we're going to pull that out. I have a feeling it might be stewing meat, which will go in the other freezer. Yeah, I was right. 6 more pounds of stewing meat. So I'm going to put that in freezer number 1, because that is where I had my other box of stewing meat. And we're going to be making some lamb stew here in the next month. So we will get some of this used up. I still have to make space for the cat food and the sausages to come back in here though. So that could be fun. So I have 4 bags of our summer yellow crookneck squash cubed up. This is great for roasting vegetables, that sort of thing, in soups, stews, any of that sort of stuff. I'm also going to make some more August stew because we are plowing through that really, really fast, and that requires some of this. So I'm just going to put these all in one pile all the way to the bottom. It should work perfect because the oldest one's on the top, which actually is from last year. So not doing bad, not bad. So I have to love my ability to just randomly put stuff in and not label a thing. So I've got this one here. I believe this is from 2022. It is our, what do you call those long snake gourds? I believe that's what that is, cubed up snake gourds. They fry up pretty nice. I can also use them in my Italian zucchini stew if I need to make some more of that. So they're going back in. Probably not going to use them at any time quickly, but if I do some canning over the next few months, I will dig them out. And then, I'm not sure, it might be turnip. I don't know. It's definitely old. I would say at least 2 years old. If it is turnip, that's probably why it's still in there, because we didn't really enjoy the turnip this way. We like it as pickled turnip, and that's pretty much it. So it may become chicken food, but I'm going to put it back in here for now, and then we'll see what we've got space-wise after. Otherwise, really what we've got in here is all stuff that we use quite regularly. It's not going to last long. I've got kale, nope, sorry, lamb's quarters collected this year. I think this one's probably, no, that one is kale. These are great for quiche or omelets, things like that, stir fries. So I'm going to keep them up on the top here. These are actually from 2022. I already used 2023s because I couldn't find these ones. So these will get used in the August stew when I can that up in January. Beans and more beans. These are our Necker Gold ones and our noodle beans. We love using beans. I think I've even got another pack. I'm going to keep those together for now, along with this zucchini, and they're going to sit on top so that I can use them up quickly, fingers crossed, along with my apple pie fill. So they're just going to sit, maybe. Oh, I didn't talk about my last chicken. We'll put him on top. Our last partridge Chanticleer chicken. So that is actually from 2021. Just digging it out of the bottom. I thought we'd eaten them all. Found another one. So that is to be used in the not too distant future. So I moved this big tub of rabbit meat off. Found another bag of peppers. And, oh, the other turkey. Otherwise, what we have down here is basically bones and goat meat. Which the goat meat, again, is just going to sit down there. It'll probably be chicken food eventually. All right, so I've slid the older turkey right down here because that's the one that I want to use at Christmas this year. And the other one is underneath those boxes again because it's probably going to sit there for a while. And then what I'm going to do is just all this pork and the venison, which needs to be used up sooner than later, is just going to sit on top. So that's just going to sit there, and we're going to start using that. I might make some venison stew or something. And then in here, I have put all of my cooked rabbit meat. That's ready to go meal type stuff. And the rabbit loins that I've cut for raclette. And then this here is an experiment. These are all the sides off the rabbits. And we're going to keep adding to that with the rabbits that we're butchering now. And eventually try and turn them into bacon. So watch this space to see if that happens. I have some more butters in my other fridge, which I'm going to bring over here before I get piling too much. And then down this front here is all of this year's veggies, except for the one bag of the squash, which is underneath these beans, but at least I know it's there. And so far, I've only found 2 bags of peas. So coming up is going to be our grocery haul video, and we need to make note that we need more corn and peas because I found no corn and only the 2 bags of peas. All right, so we got everything back in. Did we actually make any space? That's debatable. I think we're going to have to keep going with cooking in order to really make room in here, but I do have until January 1st. That was my deadline, so it just means I've got to really kick it into gear and make some of the stuff that I'm talking about. The one thing I have to say is I am floored at the amount of lamb we have. And that's only these 2 freezers. I know there's a whole sheep upstairs, which we're going to talk about in another video. And I know that I just put the 2 sheep that we got ground in the one outside, as you saw at the beginning of this video. So we have a ridiculous amount of lamb. So hopefully we can come up with some amazing ways to use it, because it is something that we eat 2, sometimes 3 times a week. And if we start getting those breakfast sausages and jerky and a few other things going as well, well, I know we'll go through it quite quickly and we'll be really glad we have it. But anyways, enough of my chit-chatting. Let's take a look at these freezers. Bear in mind, I still have the upstairs freezer to sort and move stuff down here, and I have to make cat food and sausages and find spots for that to go back into the freezer. So we'll see. So here we have freezer 1. I ditched the idea of the box for those lamb loin roasts because it just would not fit back in here. So as you can see, they are stacked to the ceiling of this freezer. Then I've got a bit of a pocket like right here where I could put some stuff, but I'd still need to be able to get at that stewing meat that's down there. And then over here, we've got a bunch more loin chops. So they're on top because they need to be used. That's just, there is no debating it. And the rest of this now is fruit. We've got the cheese, we got the squash. So all in all, I'm really happy with this. And moving on to the second freezer, not as much space left, but far better organized. And at least now I know what I have in here. This is all vegetables. And then it's got a couple geese, the chickens, and rabbits. And then it's got the overflow of some lamb meat, but not a lot. So we have our venison and pork here, which needs to be used up ASAP. Our final Chanticleer chicken. And then we've got some kind of random vegetables and a really old duck that need to get used up. These here, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. For now they fit, but if space becomes a premium, they are going to go because they were only kept for dyeing wool anyways. So all in all, not too bad of a job.